it is time to preview the Tour de France, which, as I said before, we're gonna focus more heavily on the first week because we got time to talk about the second and third. We will give you a bit of an overview of the whole thing, though. I have also, if you are watching on YouTube, I have pulled up Dane's preview piece, which is actually not posted as of when we're recording, but will be by the time this
Has
is
not
actually
been edited
on.
yet, so hopefully there's no glaring mistakes here.
Well, we're gonna skip the copy. We're mostly just looking at maps and profiles and things like that. I've got a couple other maps and profiles I want to pull up because the first week is chaos. But more broadly, Dane, kind of talk me through the full 3 weeks of the race. Where are we starting? Where are we going?
Okay.
How do they put this map together?
Well, we're starting in France, which actually, if you're a big cycling fan, you'll know that actually hasn't happened a lot recently. We're actually starting in Lille.
Barely. It's like 15 minutes from the Belgian
True,
border.
it's close to the French Flanders. Actually, is what it is called. It used to be part of Flanders. Anyway, it's in the northernmost part of France, and we're going to spend a little bit of time up there. And the first week and change are flat or hilly days. Lots of hilly days, actually, but no real mountains in that first stretch, right up until the very end of it. And the race takes this sort of counterclockwise route, anti-clockwise, if you're from Johnny's Island, where they go. Well, they're gonna head west and then south, and then we're gonna do Pyrenees first, and then Alps. And as usual, the second week,
the Pyrenees is like they just chucked spaghetti at the map and decided that's where the route is gonna go.
Yeah, all over the place. Lots of Pyrenean climbs there. And as usual, it's the second and third week where the mountains are really going to play the role. There are 2 time trials in the race, but I think they're only 44 kilometers of time trial action, which is not much.
The second time trial goes up a big mountain.
Yep, the second one they climb pretty much the whole time. It's a Cat 1 climb. So, like, if you're a time trialist, traditional time trialist, this is not the tour for you. Yeah, anyway, and then as they make their way through the Alps, they're going to head back to Paris for... We are finishing in Paris, but it is a little bit different from usual. We get a couple trips at the Montmartre climb.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Let's talk again briefly before we get to the first week. So the biggest stages, the biggest, most important stages, in your opinion.
Ooh, I actually think it's going to take a little while for the really, really big stages to arrive. I do think we're going to see a fair bit of action in that first week. I think we're going to see the Jersey maybe find itself on the shoulders of the guy who eventually ends up winning it. That could happen, particularly because that guy really likes hilly Ardennes-style races. Tadej Pogacar's won quite a few Ardennes classics, and this first week is full of that.
Yep.
But in terms of the actual big gaps, they're going to come on those mountain stages and in that and then the time trials. I think the 2 time trials are both going to have an impact. One, because the flat one
which is up here,
should just jettison everybody that's not one of the top 3 contenders. Because I think Pogacar, Vingegaard, and Evenepoel are going to do fine on the flat TT.
Roglic is going to do fine.
Roglic should do fine on the TT. Sorry, Roglic, erasure there.
Yep.
But I think there's going to be quite a few. I don't think Santiago Buitrago is going to do that well in the time trial.
Rude.
So sorry,
Lenny Martinez.
Maybe he's okay, isn't he? Anyway, I don't think we're
he's
gonna.
Not. Lenny Martinez is 5'0", and
in
cannot.
pocket.
Fair enough.
He'll do well in the second time trial.
I mean, Remco's a small guy, but yeah. All right, so that time trial, which is on stage 5, that's the big GC day of the first week, and it's in Cannes. It's the 33K. Yeah. I think all the really big stuff's going to come mostly after that in the second and third week. The Paragoud time trial, which is stage 13, that is that's going to be a big day where I think all of the big favorites, Pogacar, Vingegaard, Evenepoel, are going to do fine, and that's going to just further extend the gap between them and the rest of humanity. And then, man, that time trial is followed by another really hard stage to Luchon Super Bagnères, which, hard climb.
Find these.
Or category climb. That's stage 14. Whee! There's a stretch there, so it's 12, 13, 14. That's Hautacam plus a time trial.
This is the most...
Oh, it's so...
This is the most ridiculous... So what we're looking at right now, for those who are not looking on YouTube and are listening, the profile for the Ludonvier and to Paragoud time trial looks flat.
Yeah, why have they done that?
It's not flat. It's up a giant mountain.
If you don't look at profiles a lot, you might not know that the y-axis in a profile it's not standardized, right?
No.
And
Yeah,
this is a great example of that. So they've decided that for this particular one, they're going to make it look flat, even though it's absolutely not flat.
They go up nearly 600 meters. No,
Yeah.
more than 600 meters within 11 kilometers. So
Yeah, it's a Cat 1 climb. And it looks like it's just like a gentle...
So it's 8K at 8%. And this profile is garbage.
Yeah. I made note of that in the preview. I noted this fact.
But then we've got this stage after. Holy moly. So
Hautacam before it, then the time trial, they go up the Cat 1 climb, and then the next day is Luchon Super Bannière, which has or category finishing climb and then some other hard climbs right before it. I think this...
I want to... Slow down a little bit. Slow down a little bit, Dane.
Yeah,
slow down.
We
got all the time in the world here. We got a lot of Tour de France to talk about. So I want to really quickly. That's the overview. The first week is chaos, little tiny kickers, lots of probably bonus seconds and movement in that front. Like Mathieu van der Poel, probably pretty stoked. Peak Julian Alaphilippe would have been really excited, but probably less so these days. But then we get to past the first rest day. There is a sort of mountain stage near Clermont-Ferrand that something might happen, but it's not really. It's sort of Massif Central. That's north of Massif Central. Anyway, we get down to the Pyrenees. That's where we go first. And this first nasty one after that rest day is this Auch to Hautacam stage, which is interesting to me because it's probably going to be hot as hell.
Mhm.
Europe is at the moment in the middle of a heat wave anyway. That is supposed to break later this week.
Yeah,
But it could come back at any time.
it will.
And it probably will. And I have ridden the Hautacam in a warm day. There is no tree cover. There is no nothing. The day I rode it, there wasn't even any wind. And it is absolutely brutal. So if we've got a rider who is not good in the heat, I would keep a very close eye on this particular stage. Then we get to the time trial, which is not flat, despite
hill climb.
what the profile says. I don't think the gaps will be massive here because it's only 11K, but there will be gaps, obviously. Then, Pau to Luchon Super Bannière. Another HC mountaintop finish.
It's like 4,900, something like almost 5,000 meters of
Yeah.
climbing. It's a lot.
Any guesses on how Geraint Thomas is going to react to the stage after riding it or looking at the profile?
I can think of a word.
Go on, give it to me.
Fwa.
This
that a
is
word?
four out of four, yeah.
Exclamation. Yeah.
And it's kind of near four, kind of.
Yeah.
It is kind of
Slightly.
near Foix, actually.
'Cause
182K, HC climb to finish things off. Then we keep going. We get out of the Pyrenees. We drop down into Carcassonne. It's just another one of those. This is a perfect example of like, what you got? A Cat 3 and a Cat 2. This is a breakaway stage for sure. But this is a perfect example of this tour and how if I was a sprinter, I'd be very annoyed at this tour because Carcassonne is like a classic sprint stage spot, right? And you can get out of the Pyrenees without going over mountain. Like you can. You just go out the valley and then you turn right and you go to Carcassonne. And they're not doing any of that. So skip that. And then the rest day followed by like the literal hockey stick stage. Mont Ventoux, another HC climb that they're finishing at the top of. I'm really excited for this particular stage. They're coming up from the Bedouin side, which is where they almost always come up for the Tour de France on Ventoux. It's the more iconic of the two sides. Any thoughts on this one, Dane? I mean, this one basically becomes a like independent time trial that they all start at the same time. Basically.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, it's sort of a similar approach to like the Froome 2013 year. It's just sort of flat. It's nice they go through Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Get a little wine there. That climb though, I mean, one of the nice things about Ventoux is that it's really steep at the beginning and at the end. So I think you really quickly shed everybody and then can turn it into that, real test of strength. It's not like you're going to have these you can't have long trains on Ventoux. So even with even with a really flat run in, you're still going to get this explosion at the start of the climb, and that's nice. So I think of any stage, you can kind of have a flat run in Devon too.
If UAE is doing what we think they're going to be doing, I think you could end up with a group of like 10 riders, and 4 of them are UAE. That's the bottom of this thing.
Speaking of the problems that we've seen with the roadbook already, with not being describing things as they should be, I heard a rumor that in early versions of this roadbook, where we get the profiles from when they're released, they had Mont Ventoux down as a Category 4 climb. So I'm glad to see that they've corrected that.
As funny as that would be.
Yes.
Again, we're going to kind of rip through these because we got plenty of time to talk about these stages as they get a bit closer. Valence, blip. Then we get into Col de la Loze. And Col de la Loze has been one, it's like, wasn't used pretty much at all until a couple years ago. And now the Tour loves it. And it's the one every year. It's the one where we end up on basically a bike path, like way up above tree line. Another HC finish. Like this is, I can't tell who they built this tour for, because, or maybe they did this on purpose. Maybe this is the genius of it. So Thierry Gouvenou, who is the sort of head route guy, right? My guess here, and usually he'll do an interview with L'Equipe as the race gets closer, and we'll kind of find out in some more detail. He's built the first half of the race for Tadej Pogačar because it's full of these weird lumpy stages. It's full of bonus seconds. It's full of like little kickers at the end of stuff. And he's built the mountain stages for Jonas Vingegaard because all these HC finishes, big, long climbs, often at altitude, like Col de la Loze finishes up at 2,300 meters, is in theory Vingegaard country, right?
In theory.
And I think the fact that we've got all these like HC finishes at the top of the mountain, because remember, like last couple of years, we often went over these climbs and finished at the bottom somewhere, and so you had all these like descents down to the finish line. The fact that we've got all these finishes at the top feels to me like a play toward Vingegaard, and I think that they're trying to balance the tour in that way. They're saying, like, I think if you ask Gouvenou how he's expecting this tour to play out or how he's hoping it will play out, he thinks Pogačar is going to be in the yellow jersey coming into Hautacam, and maybe Vingegaard has the yellow by Paris. That's my guess.
I think it's funny that we all sort of think of it like this, but like Pogačar is definitely better at a bunch of things. You know, the punchy climbs. If you threw a gravel stage in there, the thing that we're saying this might suit Vingegaard, but it's just a might. Like, also, Pogačar could just destroy him on these climbs.
Yeah.
It's more of like, if there's anything that suits Vingegaard, it's these long, high-altitude climbs, but we don't actually know for certain whether he's going to do anything here.
Again, this is pure just theory. This isn't necessarily practice, but like it's pure theory. Because look at this. Like, then we go to the next stage, right? We get to stage 19, and we've got another one.
2,000 meters.
How many climbs how many HC climbs have we finished at the top of already? There were 4 already, I think. And this is another really, really nasty day, right? Start in Albertville, which is like just south of Annecy, and was it one Cat 2 to start off with, Cat 1, HC, Cat 2, HC to finish things off. It's really, really nasty, and
it is also the last mountain stage of the tour, by the way.
Yeah,
last real hard day.
Yep. So that's what we have to look forward to in the second and third weeks. Lots of good stuff in the Pyrenees, lots of good stuff in the Alps. Let's take ourselves back to the first week and spend some more time in this, which honestly, a lot of times we would just sort of pass over stuff in the first week because it's historically the tour has not designed the first week to be particularly interesting. But this is the first week that I am most excited about in a very, very long time. Last year, if you remember correctly, we had a pretty interesting first week. We had like a couple interesting stages in Italy. Obviously, like we had the Bardet stage to start off with, the Kevin Vauquelin stage right after that, and then we very quickly got into the mountains. We had that Galibier stage on stage 4, and so we had sort of like a GC sorting relatively early. I don't think we have the same level of GC sorting in this Tour, you do have the early time trial, but that's not going to do what the Galibier did, right?
Yeah.
That's not going to be minutes necessarily, particularly among the top riders.
Well, the three favorites are all good at time trials, so we're probably going to see them finish relatively close.
Yeah, like if we were coming into this being like Santiago Buitrago is a favorite for the yellow jersey, but he's got to get through that time trial. It would be a different story. But we are not. They're all very good time trials. So here's what we're going to do. For the first week here, we're going to go through stage by stage, and we're going to make picks. And we're going to make picks in the style of our fantasy game. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see there's a little thing at the top of the screen here. It says Play Fantasy in yellow. And the way our fantasy game works, which all of you should go play, and there is a spin cycle league, so you can play against us, you can play against other listeners. There were like a couple hundred people in it last year. Go join up there. The way that ours works is you pick one rider for each stage, and you cannot use that rider again. And that's kind of the tricky part, right? Because I'm looking at this first week, and I would just like to put Mathieu van der Poel down for like half the stages, but I cannot do that. So we're going to go through, and I think maybe each of us can make a bit of a pick. And I'm marking them down, and these are going to be my actual picks.
Yeah, good idea. Because I always forget
for the fantasy game. Yeah, for the fantasy game, and we'll do this again for the second week and the third week as we get to those previews, which will be like around probably on the rest days, I would imagine. So, stage 1 of the Tour de France next Saturday. We'll start with an easy one. This is Lille to Lille. Starts in the middle of town, finishes in the middle of town. It does have some lumps in it. It has 4 Cat 4s, but the last Cat 4, it comes a full like 40K from the finish. And so this seems like a pretty clear sprint stage to me, right?
I think so.
Who do you got, Dane? Who's your pick?
Oh man, because there's three good sprinters right now. I think I'm gonna go.
By the way, we can pick the same rider.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
Also, by the way, go to escapecollective.com and read the breakdown of the sprint battle here. We've got quite a few good sprinters in this race, but 3 above the rest. I'm going to go with Merlier for this first one.
Whoa. I'm on Johnny Milan, but if I wasn't, I'd be picking Arnaud Demar because that would just be wonderful. I'm not sure if he's going to make the selection. It's not been confirmed at the time of time writing.
Yeah, we don't have a full start list yet.
He DNF'd the road championships, but maybe because he knows
he is supposed to go to the
Metropole.
Tour. He is supposed to go to the Tour.
Okay, well let's hope so. But no, Jonathan Milan. I can see Little Trek continuing from where they left off at the Giro with that the strong start there, getting the job done early. Yeah.
Dane, who do you got?
I had Merlier.
Merlier with me. I also have Merlier. I think he's the strongest, fastest sprinter right now, and I think that this is the most sprinter stage that we see the entire 3 weeks. So, got to put him down. Again, part of the tricky bit here is you can only use each of these riders one time.
Yeah.
So you have to decide: do I want to use my Merlier card or my Philipsen card or whatever early on? Let's move on to stage 2. This one finishes in Boulogne-sur-Mer. 209 kilometers. This is your classic gnarly early Tour de France stage, and this one is significantly more interesting. Got a Cat 4 about halfway through sprint, and then but the finale is the interesting bit. Cat 3, Cat 4. The last one comes what? Well, let me pull it up for those who are watching on YouTube. Stage 2 finish.
5.5K.
There we go. This is the finale of stage 2. We've got Cat 3 with a 15% ramp, followed by Cat 4 with a 12% ramp right near the top. And that is about 5 and a bit kilometers away from the finish. And then the finish itself is uphill. So it's got a bit of a kick, levels out, and then right at the finish line kicks up once again. This is the first of the interesting stages. Stage 2 didn't take us too long to get there. It's a tricky one to pick. I'll go first.
Go on.
I've mentioned that I didn't like Dane's Biniam Girmay erasure in his sprint thing. I went back and looked at the Giro stage that Binny won, and I looked at the finale of that Giro stage, and it looks a lot like this. He beat Mathieu van der Poel in that stage. Now, this is obviously on the assumption that he's in really, really good form because he has to get over those two pretty decent-sized climbs, and I'm not entirely confident of that, but I'm going to use him anyway. I'm going to go Binyam Girmay for this, and I think I'm worried that teams will make it too hard, and there won't be enough time to pull it all back together. But again, he did it at the Giro, very similar finale. I think it's possible.
I'm not going to use this rider because I think it's safer to keep it for later on. Tadej Pogacar would be a pretty good bet for this stage. Just like, remember last year, he literally waited till that second categorized climb of the race to attack Jonas Vingegaard. So I don't think we should expect him to be waiting around. My heart pick would be Julian Alaphilippe, but I feel like we're about 4 years too late, which is sad.
My thing about Alaphilippe, I think, so there's stages coming. 4 and 6, I think, are better for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my pick is going to be Primoz Roglic.
Oh, Johnny.
Because
I'm with you.
I am going to use him before he can fall down.
Yeah. I'm on board with that. Same here.
You're both on Roglic?
Yeah. Yep.
I think you guys are overestimating this stage.
10%. A 10%
hard
climb.
enough.
Have you seen how they race bikes these days, Kaylee?
That's true. You know what this is really similar to? It's really similar to stage, was it 4? The one that Pedersen won at the Giro this year.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
If Mess Peterson was at this race, I'd be like, this is his.
Yeah.
This is his.
I
this
bet
is his stage,
he must be gutted he's not at the Tour.
Yeah,
No?
I'm a little surprised that
It's a
they
shame.
made that call. Yeah,
They could just take both of them. Surely they could take both of them.
yeah. This is too hard for Milan, I think.
Yeah, it's way too. There's two
yeah.
climbs that are almost 10%. One is 10%. The other was almost 9% in the last 10K. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's 1K at 10%. It's not like a big
But
one
that's true of the climbs at Amstel. Like it's and
Yeah.
you don't see Jonathan Milan winning those races.
No, it's too hard for the big sprinters. That's why I've got Binny, because I think he's like 15 kilos lighter than some of these guys, and he could potentially, again, if he's on super form, get over this. All right, I still think you guys are wrong about Roglic on this one. I don't think it's anywhere near hard enough. But I totally,
find out.
like, how far is he going to get before he falls down? And I think that stage 2 is a good bet. You're hedging your bets there a little bit. All right, if we go back to our preview. Oh wait, I have to remove that. There we go. We get into stage 3. Boring. Finishes in Dunkirk, sprint stage. It's got a Cat 4, like 20K from the finish, 30K from the finish.
Johnny, you gonna pick a brave British boy? You just saluted. I wasn't sure if that was.
Yes, I am, and unfortunately, I can't pick Mark Cavendish because he's not at the race. Or will he be? We don't quite know yet because he might do another comeback for the 3rd year in a row. So until I see that start list, don't count him out. If not, I'll go for Jake Stewart.
That's good, brave British boy.
Because I think if he lived 100 years ago, he would actually be. Oh no, not even 100 years ago now. 80 years ago, he would be a brave British boy, and he would be part of the rescue mission on these beaches.
Dane, who do you got?
Well, I went with Merlier for the first one. I'll go with Milan for this one.
I also went with Milan for this one. I think that. Yeah, that little Cat 4 at the end won't bother him. None of us are picking Phillipsen yet.
I'm just waiting for the next one to pick Phillipsen.
Yeah, okay. And then we get to another interesting stage 4. Again, this first week is great. It's really, really good. Okay, so stage 4 into Rouen, sawtooth, right? Dictionary definition of sawtooth. We've got all these little climbs at the end. So it's 175K stage. From 128 on, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categorized climbs, all 4s and 3s. And the finale of this thing, let me pull up the actual finale. This is we got stage 4. One moment. Apologies to the YouTube folks. Here we go. This is your peak Julian Alaphilippe stage.
Yeah, that might be.
Right? Like,
hopefully.
So we'll walk you through the last 4 ramps. the farthest from the finish, a Cat 4, kind of the easiest of them. Then we have another Cat 4, which sits at quite a bit steeper, nearly 10%. And then the final, not really the final, there's a short kicker into Rouen, which, what is it, like maybe half a K, 800 meters, something like that. But before that, the sort of the penultimate climb has a big, long stretch, well over 10%. And it is going to be hard. I think another name, like a Mark Hershey or something like that, if he was sort of peak Mark Hershey, we would have put him down for this. But it's a really tricky one to call because it could go either way. It could be Pogacar, right?
Van der
Like it could
Poel?
easily be Pogacar.
Vanderpool too. Yeah.
Van der Poel is my pick for this one. This is one I've got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Thibaut Nice?
Yeah.
Quite interesting.
That's a good pick too.
Is that your pick, Johnny?
Him, yeah, I'll go for him, but I might change it when I do it in the app to Van der Poel, to be honest.
Dane?
I'm gonna go with the Vanderpool on this one. I like his chances on this finish.
It's a 15% ramp. And it's called Ramp Saint-Hilaire, which is
Wow.
fun. Yeah.
Good branding.
All right. And we get back to stage 5. Here we go. Stage 5, time trial day. We can go very quickly through this one. Who's winning the time trial? 33 kilometers flat.
I'm liking Remco for this.
Ooh. Yeah.
I got Remco.
Yeah, probably.
You might as well use him because
He's not going to win another stage, is he?
exactly.
might win a time
you might as
trial.
well use him. Yeah.
Or if he ends up going for stages because he's out of GC.
Ooh, yeah.
He's not going to win. He's not going to win the second time trial though.
No. Yeah,
True,
you
that's a
gotta go- you gotta
Pogacar
go
on a
Remco.
good go day. For
Not
sure.
even
Yeah.
a Stefan Bissiger and Yves Lampard. Is
He'll
Yves
finish
Lampard
fourth.
going?
Bissell will finish fourth.
Yves Lampard
Yeah.
might not be at the tour this year. That'd be a travesty. No Stefan Kung in this year's tour, probably. I don't think.
Also unfortunate.
So no bets on who's going to finish second through fourth for this stage.
Johnny, you got Remco as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's got to be, doesn't it?
You can't look any further than that. All right. Stage 6. Via Normandie.
Do you want a fun fact about this stage?
Yeah.
Bayeux, as well as home to the famous, with only other tapestry. The only tapestry known in the world is in Bayeux.
It's in Bayeux.
I've never heard of any other tapestry in my life. It is the hometown of Kevin Vauquelin. Sweet Kevin the second.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I actually
Big
like
time.
him for this stage.
Well, there you go. He's probably going to be trying, I would imagine.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
Yeah, so let me pull up the finale here.
While you're doing that, I'll point out that the
Yeah.
fun fact, the Bayeux tapestry, not actually a tapestry according to people who care about these things.
Really? I
it's
went to
embroidered.
see it though. I've seen it in real life, and it did look quite tapestry.
Yeah, I guess there's some kind of specific weaving style that makes it not. I don't know. I'm just throwing this random fact.
A
out here
linen
for you, Walt
cloth
Cayley's.
embroidered with scenes.
There you go.
Nah.
Isn't that a tapestry?
Yeah.
I guess a tapestry. Nobody
Tapestry
cares, so I don't wanna
tapestry
get into it.
heads on r/tapestry. They
Exactly.
argue about
They're gonna
this
tell
every
you.
single day.
It's actually an embroidered cloth.
I think this is a breakaway day.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah, it looks breakaway. It's pretty early
Like,
for a
who's-
breakaway day.
Who's gonna control? Yeah, but who's gonna control that? Who's gonna be confident enough to control that?
I mean, Tudor or Alpecin maybe for their various.
Yeah, but why don't they just stick a rider in the breakaway? Because at this point, you have to keep in mind we've already done the time trial.
Yeah.
Like you could have already shipped minutes if you wanted to, and like you know, Dane, you just said you think it's too early for sort of breakaway win, but like given the stages that we've been through already, if you
might already
purposely
see.
drop time, you could already be 14 minutes back,
Right.
right? If you really want to be. So I think I'm calling breakaway, and I am changing my mind on this one. I had like Toms in this one, I had like a Luke Plapp or a Magnus Cort or something like that.
Nice.
But I am officially going Kevin Vauquelin because I didn't realize this is his hometown. He's going to be
Yeah.
very motivated.
He's not a tapestry. He's a human being. I'm going to
He
go
is.
for Fred Wright, Brave British Boy, numero 2.
Good stuff.
Kayla, you've convinced me on Vocaline. I already liked him, and I think he's already a good rider for this stage. And now knowing, well, thanks to Johnny about this fact, I'm on board
Yeah.
with Vocaline.
That's premium fact. That's a
That's a good fact.
top
You're
fact.
welcome. Should have saved it for after dark.
Could be the last win that team gets at the Tour de France ever. Yeah.
In its entire existence. Stage 7, Mur de Bretagne. This is another really good one. It's relatively easy, relatively flat, and so I don't think this is a breakaway stage. I think that the key favorite teams will hold this one together pretty well. The last time we went up Mur de Bretagne, Mathieu van der Poel won. But previously, it's also been a bit of a GC day. So Cadel Evans won on Mur de Bretagne in 2011 on his way to winning the Tour de France. And so I think this could easily go either direction. Could be a Van der Poel, could be a GC rider. I put down Narvaez
Whoa.
because he's
Interesting.
kind of in the middle there. And I don't want to use this. So like, again, to remind you of the rules, you can only use a rider once. I don't quite want to use a Pogacar yet because I just think
No.
he could be like 14th in this, right? If he just sort of realizes it's not going to be beneficial to him. Whereas if you pick him in a real mountain stage, you're basically guaranteed like a top 3, right? So anyway, that's my thought. So I'm gonna go with Narvaez on this one, Jonathan Narvaez.
Wout van Aert. Why not? Don't know.
Yeah,
Don't know. Can't call this one, so I'm just going to go Wout van Aert.
it's really.
I
hard
want to pick. I want to pick him in the first week.
Mm-hmm.
I
I'm
want
like
to
an
see some Wout
Alaphilippe
van
here.
Aart redemption.
Alaphilippe.
Yeah.
I
How
would be
great
pleased
would that
with
be?
as well.
Be awesome.
it
How
would be.
great would that be?
That'd
All right,
be
we're
good.
cruising through this. Stage 8.
Is this at the?
to
Oh,
Laval.
this is the weekend. This is when we get to the weekend where
This
we
is when
have
we get to
2
the
sprint
weekend.
days on the weekend
Yeah,
days.
this is
which
this is the worst part of the tour.
That is a
Yep.
Rob Hatch level farce. If I could be so blunt, I think ASO are probably extremely ticked off as well, but scoured the entirety of their fine country and could not find a way to get from Brittany down to towards the Pyrenees without having 2 sprint days.
This one
We have to
does
get-
have a very slightly uphill finish. Not like so hard as it's not going to be a sprint, but it is a little bit more interesting than the next one, at least.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, yeah. Another Binny, another Milan, but I've at least used those already, so I am going Philipsen on this one.
Me too. Same.
I'm gonna. Who's
Dane,
the,
you're just
who's the most
copying me.
boring? Yeah, you are,
Well,
Dane.
I
Come
think
on,
we've-
Dane.
It's great minds thinking alike. Caleb.
Original thought. I'm going to pick Dylan Groenewegen because that will kill my spirit on the Saturday, knowing that I've then got another sprint day on the Sunday.
Yeah.
And then end of Sunday, probably another Dylan Groenewegen win. And then there's going to be no restaurants open in wherever we get to next, Châteauroux. And it's going to be one of the worst weekends ever at the Tour de France. Guarantee it.
Wait, is Châteauroux? That's the one. No, it's the next stage. Is this Sunday?
Yes.
Châteauroux is
Oh,
Sunday.
but the race goes through on Monday because
Oh, because we switched it around. No.
yeah because the first rest day is until Tuesday because we have
Oh, I see what you mean.
Bastille Day.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, so Sunday is Chinon to Châteauroux. Very boring, just the most boring.
No
If you're gonna
cat
pick a
vibes,
day,
nothing.
yeah, if you're gonna pick a day to go on a big long bike ride, this is your day to go on a big long bike ride and just not even turn on the Tour de France until the last 5K.
Dane's going to like it. There's a big church at the finish.
And it's the kind of stage where you could take a little bit of time to visit that church or Chartres Cathedral. if you
My
really
recommendation would be if you don't live in a family where everyone watches the Tour de France and, July maybe you get moaned at a bit for spending your whole time in front of the TV. For this weekend, play the card of being like, you know what? Yeah, the Tour de France has been great this opening week. But let's spend some time as a family. Let's go and do some stuff. Let's go feed the ducks at
Yeah.
the park
Yeah.
and then build up that cachet of goodwill to then use for the back half of the race. You know,
good,
and just
Johnny.
get
I
and
think
then
this
on
is
your
brilliant.
phone, just go for a long bathroom break for the last like 5 to 10k,
Yep.
and then be like, oh, I'm not feeling so well, and then you can dip out of the family activity early to go home because you know you got a sicky tummy or something.
You
There
know
you
who
go.
loves a Shadowroo finish?
Mark Cavendish.
Brave British boy, Mark Cavendish. Yeah.
Mm.
So who are our picks? Are there any brave British replacements? Probably
Yeah,
not for this stage.
cheese bowl. I'm going cheese bowl. Cheese bowl
Oh,
the
See,
wow.
third.
Deep cut.
This is the trick. So what other like I'm out of sprinters that I
Well,
actually
you haven't
think are
done.
gonna win anything.
I mean, I'm going with Grunewagen because I don't think I haven't used him yet, and I
Yeah,
feel like
he's
he's the
last
next.
Neither have I.
He's the
I
next
just don't
guy
think
on
he's gonna
the
win
list.
Yeah.
He's good for a stage win once every tour, maybe, and that's
Yeah.
about it.
Ooh, you know what I'm gonna do?
What?
Who was just added? Jordy Mayus. He was just added to the Red
Oh,
Bull
he's a great
team.
pick for this stage.
Pe-
Johnny
pe-
would.
People
Johnny
are
would
point.
suffer.
Well, yeah, but I have. As we've also now got the Geordie Mayo song, which someone
it's
pointed
better.
out, which many people pointed out that the Dr. Zayas song actually comes from Rock Me Amadeus,
Rock Me Amadeus, yeah.
which I didn't know because I thought the Simpsons.
I went and looked it up after you talked
Was the root one of all culture. My pick for this stage is going to be Pascal Ackermann to cap off
Ooh,
the is it called the nadir of the Tour de France?
it's gonna be
2025.
yeah. If you listen to the tour dailies, which you all should, obviously, this is the part where we probably crack.
Yeah,
we probably
this
crack
is
in these two.
this
stages.
is the one
Yeah.
where we get shouted at, and we'll probably get shouted at this episode for calling things boring. But look, if I'm like a stock trader of exciting and boring Tour de France stages, I'm selling everything I have end of stage 7, and then buying start of stage 10.
Yep. Let's get to stage 10 because stage 10 is
Please.
the first truly spicy climbing stage. So this is finishes in Le Mont d'Or, which is sort of like outside Clermont-Ferrand. Do they go through Clermont-Ferrand or at least nearby it?
Yeah, I think nearby.
And so this is like if you recall,
They do.
Oh, no.
They go right through it.
They do go. Sorry, they do go.
there
through
we go.
it.
I thought they did.
the
If
start.
you recall from last year, we had like a sort of Roman Bardet day because he's from up that neck. He lives up there these days. And we finished on the top of that little volcano last year that we hadn't been up since like the 80s. So same part of the world, very, very lumpy. Lots of climbs that are in the kind of like 20-minute range. And so this feels like, to be honest, it feels like a day where Pogacar is gonna try to go ham on this thing. I think the actual winner of this stage is going to be a breakaway, though.
Me too.
I think that there's going to be a GC battle behind, and I think we're going to have a breakaway duel in the front. Do you have a pick for this, Dane?
Well, let me point out first the date for this stage.
Yeah, because
the
that
relevant
always
date.
makes a huge difference determining the winner.
Well, you have to pick a French rider, right? I mean,
You do. Even
although
if
I
it's
feel like
futile.
Vocaland is a good pick, but we've already used him. I agree that
Yeah.
it's going to be a breakaway style day. And now I'm like, actually, what French riders are really going to be able to pull this off? Because as we've already discussed, man, the French start list at this tour is
It's pretty
Oh.
bad.
it's wolf territory.
It's wolf.
Sorry to say.
Le Wolf.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Ben O'Connor out of the breakaway. I think he's far enough down by this point. He's going to feel sad if he hears of this, but I think he's going to be far enough down by this point that he can go for it.
That's interesting that you've picked him because already written down on my sheet is his arch nemesis, the King of France, Warren Buggy.
There's a good French.
That's a
pick,
great
There's a-
pick. That's a fantastic. It's more
I hope
of a
it's them going tete-a-tete, just absolutely spitting feathers at the mere existence of each other, and then we get a weird climber sprint finish at the end.
a Wawa pick. Like in 2017, I would have said, "Great, you got this one." Like he's a superb pick for something.
Sometimes you got to run it back.
Sometimes you got to run it back, I guess.
Yeah.
Do we think Lenny Martinez, or is he going to be
that's a good
GC
pick. I like that.
looking?
He's
I think
not
he'll
gonna
be
be
close
anywhere
enough to a top 10 on GC at this point still that he will
You
he'll just
think?
be hiding away. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't think he's going to win a stage. Not this stage,
But
at least.
Isn't Buitrago kind of their guy?
Supposedly. Who knows?
Yeah, he's aiming for whatever the press release said. Really bummed me out because it was like it made a big deal of the fact that he was like aiming for a top 5 or something. And it's like
Some
that's
of
the
Yeah, the press releases this year have been insanely bum out because basically everyone's just like, while we went for the GC at the Giro, we're just gonna be focusing on stage winners now. Like everyone's just had the life beaten out of them, so no one can even pretend to be going for the GC at the Tour de France anymore, which is fairly depressing. Yeah.
All right, so give me your picks again. Give me your picks, Dane.
Ben O'Connor.
Wawa. Who have you got?
And then a Wawa pick. I'm going Clément Champoussin.
Ooh.
Oh, what's the Michael
Vuelta
Jackson
stage
song
winner.
that he sounds like?
Vuelta stage winner on a similar stage. He's my guy.
Nice.
Yep.
And Astana does win a lot this year, so.
That's true. Okay, so that takes us to the first rest day, and I think the end of our in-depth and pick-heavy preview of the first week and a bit of this Tour de France. We will obviously be touching on, so that gets us, for those who are watching on the YouTubes, we gets us all the way through Lille, gets all the way over here. We're coming down this way. This is where we crack. Look at this, and these drives that we have to do.
Cracking in the middle of France.
I can already taste the petrol station baguette.
Look at this.
But you
it's not like
get to go
it's
south.
not like these are highways. There's no highways here. It's just like little tiny roads.
That's where Ian gets car sick driving between the finish of stage 9 to the start of stage 10.
Yep. And then I told you guys I've shown you the hotel that we have on
the Spa one.
No. This is the one that's
Oh.
it's like 2 blocks from the finish line in a town that has like 2 hotels.
Oh,
That's a
well
good
done.
get.
I'm like it's such a good hotel pick or hotel booking. I'm a little worried it like doesn't exist or something. Because how did I get it?
It
I
might
don't know.
not.
And then we've got this transfer down to Toulouse for the rest day. So it's going to be a great first 10 days of the Tour de France. Of that, I am very, very sure. I've said this on the pod, I think, a couple times. I'm more excited for this opening to the Tour than I have been in quite some time. It's going to be really, really good.